All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 12 Faces of Sober Speaks podcast, episode number 14. I am your host, Kenneth L. Watson Jr. It is a pleasure to be back. As you can see, I have on a hoodie. It is 12 Faces of Sober. Yes, indeed. So you can go on 12facesofsober.com to get that merch. You can also get the 12 Faces of Sober book as well on there. All you got to do is click on order now and you'll be able to get that. And also I have coffee mugs, neck gaiters, and a whole host of other things. Like I said, all you got to do is log on to 12facesofsober.com and I'll take care of you. As well as something upcoming for 12 Faces Sober. You'll be able to get a chance to meet me this upcoming Saturday at Juneteenth here in Jacksonville. I'm not 100% sure of the street, but I'll definitely add that into the comments on my page tomorrow. They are going to have a flyer for that, so I'm looking forward to being able to meet and greet local people here in my birth city of Jacksonville, because I've definitely been keeping to myself during COVID. But I'm not going to go on a long ramble, but I got a special guest. This is someone that I truly looked up to growing up in San Diego. He doesn't know this part because I didn't really mention it, but I pretty much followed in his footsteps. I went to school with his little brother, Patrick. He chose to stay on the basketball court, throughout the day of school. I was too busy trying to stay fresh and clean for the ladies. But one thing about it, we did play against each other in high school as well as basketball, junior high and high school. And I followed this man's career. I thought I was going to go the whole route of ASU, NFL, but he actually did it. And I haven't actually seen him since right after the draft. You probably don't remember that, at the barbershop in Chula Vista. And it's a pleasure to have him on here. He has a good story, a past of what he did in the NFL and what he's currently doing today. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce himself, and he can go ahead and touch on his career, and then we're gonna go into the meat and potatoes of why I got you on here tonight. Introducing the legendary Terry Battle.
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me on here, K-Dub. Man, I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to get an opportunity to see what you're doing on Facebook and social media. Man, I'm super proud of you, man, for overcoming the obstacles and things like that, man. But, just keep persevering, man, and, keep your goals in focus, and everything is going to be made possible, man, with that good Lord watching over you. So yes, glad to be here.
Thank you. And like I said, the purpose of 12 Faces of Sober Speaks podcast is not necessarily to focus on just alcoholism. It's more or less of, people having a story and making some, not only a change within themselves, but change in others. And, you have the opportunity to not only play, college ball on a high level at a D1, and as well as getting drafted into the NFL. And you also had a stint playing in NFL Europe. So what I wanted to do first is kind of just talk about, your career at, and we'll start off at Hilltop first.
Right.
You had a stint at Hilltop, and as well as, you finished your high school career at Sweetwater. And I can say that when I was in junior high, I did watch this man play, and he was that deal. He was that deal at Hilltop. I didn't see him play at Sweetwater, but I definitely saw you play at Hilltop, and the numbers don't lie.
Right.
But so how was it playing? Especially in the South Bay, with limited Black coaches, and the recognition wasn't truly there as well.
Right. I mean, I was born and raised in Denton, Texas, first and foremost, man. I know, I shout out San Diego quite a bit, but I can't forget where it all started, man. And, I talked about this when I got hired as a head coach. It really started for me with great youth coaches in Denton, Texas. It's a small city, about 20 minutes north of Dallas. And, a lot of different obstacles growing up in that area with limited resources and things like that. But I always had some great coaches to kind of, exposed me to positive things. A lot of friends and, talk about negative peer interaction and things like that. But a lot of individuals at that time, man, wasn't making good choices. And so my mom decided to move us to San Diego to kind of get us a fresh start in a new environment. And so we moved to an area down in Chula Vista, and Hilltop was a school. And like you talked about, it's not a lot of diversity when we think about African Americans in that area, particularly, a large population of Mexican Americans and Caucasians, but very few African Americans. So it was definitely tough initially as I entered ninth grade and was playing football. And then my sophomore year at Hilltop, that was a time where everything was starting to come along as far as me getting acclimated to my new surroundings and things like that. But then my junior year came and, that negative peer interaction that my mom was trying to get us away from really started to interfere in my football goal and path with, running with the wrong crowd and not making good choices, to be quite honest with you, in regards to the classroom. So my junior year playing football, I actually didn't even make grades during the football season. I missed like the last 4 or 5 games. And I always thought it was about the teachers, when you're a star athlete, giving you work packets at the very end and you complete them. And now they give you the grade that it was all about, so that you could be eligible. Well, it was one teacher at Hilltop that said, you know what? I'm not going to give you this grade. I don't care if you did turn in a packet in previous semesters, but we're not doing that. And so that really opened my eyes at that particular point to where I was ineligible. And I remember being embarrassed, and people asking, why are you not playing? And I had to be honest with them. I didn't take care of my responsibility in the classroom. And then that led to a lot of emotions and anger and frustration. And again, my mom said, you know what, we're going to get you out of this environment of being at Hilltop, because my mom really focused on Sweetwater being that year-round school to give me limited opportunity to not have any structure, right? Sweetwater was a school district that went 9 weeks on, 3 weeks off. And so my mom felt like that was the better environment so that I wouldn't have 2.5 months off in the summer. And, my grades started to change. I started to really buy in, right? I felt the support of my teachers and things like that, more so than I did at Hilltop. It was a point in time, and I don't tell anybody this, where one of my teachers at Hilltop said, to my mom, I don't think Terry can read. What do you think? And so my mom said, I think he'll be much better not in your class. So again, that dynamic of diversity and the lack of support and kind of the understanding, I would say, of those teachers at Hilltop not really understanding my background and things that we have to go through as a culture, right? But I dialed in, once I got to Sweetwater, I dialed into to really what my focus and goal was to get a Division I scholarship. So that structure and that support that I felt from the teachers there at Sweetwater was great. And, that led to that opportunity where I got that scholarship. So that's kind of where it all started for me, was that structure component and just feeling supported. Growing up in a single parent household. So,
yeah. That's this it's a lot of similarities was the same way, because my mom ended up, she ended up pulling me out of Hilltop my senior year. And the same thing that the teachers told her, they were like, nah, this guy probably be lucky to get into a junior college. Yeah. And it's like, and then all this education later. But
right.
to hear
Exactly. Right.
but for your, I'm saying, your mom to hear that, it's like, wait a minute, like, okay.
Right.
Yeah. And then, like you said, the same thing, even when I transferred to Sweetwater, well, I can say it now, but they wanted me to come back an extra school year. But yeah, they really wanted me to play, and they knew what was going on at Hilltop, and
right,
and they was trying to get me out of that school. They were trying their best to get me out of there, but I was like, nah, it's my senior year. The coach was saying, I think we had the same head coach and everything, and he was,
right.
giving me all the promises. Oh, you gonna play? Despite the fact nobody else was getting recruited but me, and that's why just like I couldn't figure it out.
Right,
right. And they wanted me to be on, I was on the varsity my sophomore year. That's the part that was crazy.
Oh, at Hilltop?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same thing here. Yeah. So, it really just boils down to, as a young man at that point in time, to feel supported, man, and to be uplifted and things like that. I think, if things were different and teachers would understand, about the Black man, right, and things that we go through, then I think things would be a lot different, man. And I think some teachers get it though. So I don't want to put everybody in the same umbrella, but there's some teachers that kind of have the mentality that, back in the day mentality, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I feel you on that.
Right.
So you have a standout year, your senior year at Sweetwater, and then you get the opportunity, you get interest in colleges. And so how was Arizona State the top school on the list, or that's where you just already had it set in your mind?
Well, no,
you got a Texas background, so you might have probably wanted to go play in Texas or something.
Right. I did honestly wanted to go back and play, because I grew up, like I said, in Denton. Okay. And so two schools that stood out to me was North Texas, Mean Green, and then the University of Texas. Okay. But with my mom and siblings being in San Diego, I knew I wanted to get away from San Diego, but I wanted to stay in close proximity so that my mom, who was always supportive all the way from the time I started at 8 years old to the time I graduated, right, from high school, and very supportive. When I went off to college, to Arizona State, I knew that would give me an opportunity, like I said, to get away, but that my mom could still travel to see me play week in and week out. So that's really what gravitated me towards Arizona State. But I took trips to UNLV, Oregon State, Oregon, Arizona State, and then the U of A. Those are my 5 trips. I know I was being recruited by San Diego State, Fresno State, BYU, some not any offers at that time, but a lot of letters from like Nebraska, Texas A&M. So a lot of schools were interested, but I wanted to a school that fit that criteria that I talked about, close proximity, and then played at a high level. And I knew at that time the Pac-10 played a lot of high-level football, and knew one thing that the Pac-10 always had an opportunity to do was to play in a Rose Bowl, right? The granddaddy of them all. So I thought that was a great fit for me, and obviously my relationship with my recruiting coordinator at that time, Kent Bear, who recruited the San Diego area for Arizona State, man, we hit it off, and so it was good. It was good.
Okay, and then so I we won't go through the whole list of your college career, but I noticed you had a standout year in '96. You went 11-1. So how was that experience? You guys is right there.
Yeah.
Like how?
Go ahead.
I mean, from week to week, how teams get on a roll. And
Right.
sooner or later, it's 3 games, and they go to 4 games, and it's like, okay, you're looking back, it's like, wait a minute, the wins is getting more, and the losses staying the same.
Yeah, man. Like I tell people this all the time, man. It was a process. You know, the word of this generation is trust the process, right? And that can't be even more truthful, man. To be honest with you, freshman year 3-8, sophomore year 6-5. Both of those years didn't make a bowl game. And you know, as a team, man, we really committed. We bought in. We put the work in during the summer, man, in the weight room, out there on the field, just building that camaraderie. And we knew that, you know, we was gonna take our lumps early because we were a fairly young team. And then by 1996, man, once we won the first game by 3 points against the University of Washington last second, and in the past, those games wasn't going our way. We was always on the wrong side of those. But that first one, that got us off to a good start. And then we, you know, fast forward, we played Nebraska that year. They were the 2-time national champions. The year before, we went down to Lincoln, and they gave us a beatdown, 77-28. And so when we beat Nebraska, man, we knew we had something special when we beat them 19-0 at our place that following year in 96. So, and after that, it was just, you know, our coach Coach Bruce Snyder always talked about one day at a time, one snap at a time, you know, just that one at a time mentality. And we just took it. We didn't ever get too far ahead of ourselves. So every week we knew this was our target for this week. We didn't get too full of ourselves like I talked about, but just that season, man, everybody did their job and did it at a high level. They took care of their business in the classroom. And I just think, man, it was a maturation of guys who came in, got to play a little bit early because before we had some seniors and juniors that wasn't making the right choices, and they either ended up getting kicked out of school just for making those bad choices. So we knew that we had something special when all of our players was doing the right thing on and off the field. So, you know, just it didn't fall our way in the Rose Bowl, losing by 3 points, or we could have been national champions. But, man, that was a great ride at that point in time. So, yeah.
Like seeing, like being as, you know, you were a player in the Rose Bowl, like what are some of the things that, you know, that you guys got to actually experience outside of the game itself?
Yeah, well, obviously everybody always goes to I think it was Disney World or one of those amusement parks. We got to do that. We got to go to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. You know, we just did a bunch of different team building events and things like that with Ohio State, obviously. But those are the things that kind of stood out to me was, you know, that amusement park experience, and then that Ruth Chris Steakhouse where they would pick one player from each team to see who can eat the most steak. Oh, right. Yeah.
Like 75 ounce or something, huh?
Right. So that was a good thing about that. And so it was a great experience though, man. Great experience.
Okay. And then right after that, you know, you went ahead and decided to enter the draft. And was that an easy decision for you, or was that more or less like, all right, this might be my shot, or did you already know, like, okay, yeah, it might be time to go ahead and just enter the draft?
Well, yeah, that was a tough decision, man. I before I would say the Rose Bowl, our head coach met with all the players individually, right? And you know, people know my story that, you know, I played as a true freshman. I started kick returns every single year I was there, but I wanted to be a starter at the running back position, right? And you kind of got to bide your time. Some coaches look at it as, you know, the order you come into school, that's the order they trying to promote you. right? And so I had a conversation with our head coach, RIP Coach Bruce Snyder, man. And like I did a podcast about 3 weeks ago where I was very transparent about this. But going into my junior year, after that senior who had graduated moved on, I thought, now this is about to be my opportunity to get more touches, right, from a running back perspective. But there was another running back that was bigger as far as, his height and everything like that, and weight. But I felt like I could take it from anywhere on the field, right? He's more of a bruiser, thumper, a back, great player. So I want to take nothing from him. But I felt like this was my opportunity to start when I was backing up that guy. But let me fast forward. So it was a tough decision. I met with the head coach. He says, Terry, you had 1,000 yards. Great job. And he said the player's name, the running back who got hurt the 5th game of the year. He said he would have had 1,000 yards too. What do you think? And I said, Coach, I don't know. I can only control what I can control, what Terry Battle can control. And he said, well, I just want to let you know that my policy is that a starter can't lose his job to injury. So you coming back next year for your senior year, I can't guarantee that you will be the starter. Mm. So that was a tough pill to swallow, being that I was in the 5-6 games I started. If you want to count the Rose Bowl, 6 games I started, I rushed for 1,000 yards. I still got the touchdown record for a single season, first team All-American, the #1 kick returner in the country that year with 2 touchdowns, and a first team All-Pac-10. I say, you know what? He's telling me that with these touches I got this year, he's still trying to find a way to downplay my work or my effort that I contributed to the team this past year. And I felt like, man, that was a slap in the face. Mm. And I said, even if he thought that, he shouldn't have told me that after the type of year that I finished, when I wasn't a full-time starter, to still get those, those accomplishments, right? And our team to go to Rose Bowl and all those things. Man, I felt like I had a big role in that, along with all the other players. But right. You can't negate the fact that I had a major role in that. So when he told me that, K-Dub, to be honest with you, man, I talked to my mom about it, and she said, you know what, baby, Arizona State is not going anywhere. You always had a dream of playing in the NFL, and I decided at that point in time, man, I was going to leave because I didn't want to take a chance of not getting an opportunity to get as many touches as I did the previous year and my numbers not being even comparable. So I didn't want to take that chance. I wanted to leave when I was a first-team All-American. I was clear one of the top players in college football that year. So that was my journey, but it was definitely a tough decision, to be honest with you.
Okay. And then so you went ahead and you entered the draft, and so you definitely should have got picked up in a higher, but you ended up where you landed.
Right.
But the idea is, period, people don't get drafted. So
right.
respect to that. So my thing was, how did you feel, getting drafted to Detroit?
Yeah, I felt great, to be honest with you, because when I wrote into the NFL, juniors has an opportunity or have an opportunity to write into the NFL, and they can tell you where you projected to go, right? Mm-hmm. So I came back with a 3rd or 4th round grade for only starting 6 college games. I played in every one of them in the 3 years. So I played in 33 games in college, and I got a 3rd or 4th round grade. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna take that. You know how it is in Chula Vista with a single parent, and the financial struggles of trying to make ends meet. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take this chance. And it was a funny story, man. The first 3 rounds, the way they had it back then, was on day 1, right? And then rounds 4 through 7 was on day 2. So when I didn't get drafted in the first 3 rounds, I said, okay, well, I'll go early Sunday morning. Well, the 4th round come, 5th round come, 6th round come, and I'm getting frustrated, right? I'm starting to rethink, like, man, why did I take this chance when I'm putting my faith in the system when they telling me 3rd or 4th round, and yet, nah, it's not happening. So at the beginning of the 7th round, Detroit calls, and they say, can I speak to Terry? I said, speaking. Is there anything we need to know about in the last 48 hours? Like, did you get injured or anything? I said, no, coach, ain't nothing going on. I'm all good over here. They said, well, we taking you with our next pick because we're surprised you slid down this far. You know, we got number 20, but we think you're going to be a hell of a kick returner for us and eventually, you know, develop into Barry Sanders' backup. And they was being straight. And so they drafted me, and then, you know, here I was, a Detroit Lion. So when I look back on it, yeah, you know, it was a great opportunity to get drafted. You know, every kid who, you know, plays football want to play in the pros one day. And so, yeah, it was definitely God's grace to land me here in Detroit, albeit, you know, it didn't work out the way that I had planned it to work out and based upon the draft position of what the NFL told me at that time. So, you know, the draft is a tricky thing, man. You can count your blessings. I think about that same draft, a guy like Priest Holmes, who didn't even get drafted, but then has an opportunity to go somewhere and play. So that was a tough thing for me, going to play running back behind a Hall of Fame running back. You really ain't going to have an opportunity to touch the ball when you got a guy like Barry Sanders in the backfield. So it is what it is. But, man, I'm definitely blessed to this day, man, and I wouldn't change anything for the world.
Yeah, because like I said, man, I'm telling you, when I remember what you pulled up in at the barbershop that day, but everybody was like, it was like, I was respect right there. It was like, because like I said, man, how often is it that like somebody just, you know what I'm saying, get drafted and then just, so, you know what I'm saying, just passing through the neighborhood. Like, that's not something that I mean, even though like I did, you know, I lived like right around the corner from Dan Saliamua. Yeah, he lived like right around the corner. Matter of fact, I played basketball with him right there in National City.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Danny. He also was Sun Devil. I just throw that in there. You know, Dan Saliamua is a Sun Devil.
I did not know that.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a Sun Devil.
So now you got another jersey back there. Now how did that come about in terms of, I know the NFL Europe didn't last long, but and I'm not knocking it because it's football opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But so my question is that wasn't that like an expansion to the NFL?
It was like a developmental league for the NFL. And I believe it lasted about 16 seasons. It lasted a while. Because I know before I even got over there in 2000, I want to say 91 is when it first kicked off. And, you know, maybe, you know, and I'm not sure, but I know it lasted over 15 years.
Okay.
So it was a league, because obviously it's not like the NBA where they have some developmental leagues. So the NFL Europe was a way that players who were on the cusp, right, of where teams said, well, we know they can play, but they just need some more playing time, right? Some more reps. They would send their players over there. But at that point, I was in Detroit for 2 years and played in 8 preseason games, but I had hurt my shoulder. So I had surgery in 98 after my second year in Detroit, and sat out a year, then went to the Cardinals during that time.
Okay.
But things didn't work out at the Arizona Cardinals. So in 2000, so that was in 99. In 2000, I was drafted by the Barcelona Dragons, right?
Okay.
And my head coach at the time, Jack McNeil, he had a relationship with Bobby Ross, right? Bobby Ross was the Lions coach in '97. His first hire, I was part of his draft class.
Okay.
And I remember Bobby from when he was with the Chargers, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I go over to NFL Europe and ball out. And the seventh game, fractured my hip. I mean, it was funny because my head coach, he called me over one day. He said, "Terry, why are you even over here? Like, I'm watching you run this stuff, man, and it's so smooth." And at that time, it was just routes against air, right? He said, "I can't wait to see you with the ball in your hand, like when we hand it to you." But he said, "Why are you over here?" And I told him injuries, coach. Like I said, my shoulder and ankle, man, one thing after another was happening in Detroit. So I was released, but got over to NFL Europe and, like I said, fractured my hip, but had a great season. I think I still hold the second and the third longest touchdown runs in that league's history with a 69-yard touchdown and a 64-yard touchdown in one game. But it's just funny that that's the path that God put me on when these head coaches say, "What are you even doing over here?" So it should have been a situation where I was given an opportunity in the NFL and things would have worked itself out. But that's just not the case, and that's where we're at.
Right. And then, so when you decided to, call it quits or time to, pass the body up for a little while, what were some of the things that you decided to do? Like, anything, school? Did you, do some training, personal training with some athletes, stuff like that?
Yeah, I've done a lot of all of that. What you just mentioned, the transition. I think the toughest thing for players that I've seen in my experience and that we read about and see in the media and things like that is that transition from when you're at the top and everybody wants to be around you, right? To now, you just another civilian, right? And then that transformation of you having finding your true identity, right? And I think that going through that process, it took me about 3 years to be honest with you. That I say, damn, man, they played in the NFL and now where a phone used to always ring, right? Your phone's ringing. But what I realized is that football is not who I am, right? It's just something that I did. And once I really grasped that, I was okay. I really was. But you get tired of, at this point in time, during that transition, when people see your name, because I don't go around and say, "How you doing? My name is Terry Battle," this and that. But if you have a contract worker coming to your house and you got to sign the paperwork in Arizona, and they say, "Oh, Terry Battle, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Oh, my, and I got tired of answering those questions. So once I got finished up my bachelor's degree, man, I started working in group homes initially, managing individuals with schizophrenia, male and females. And then once I kind of reached the top of that, I realized I had to go back and further my education so that I could continue to grow and that the income could continue to come in and things like that. So I went back, got my master's degree, became a special education teacher there in Arizona, was doing that, working with the emotional impaired students. And in 2016, we relocated back to Michigan. And I tell you, that has been a great move for me because I was becoming too stagnant there in Arizona, right? You still start to hang around a certain group of individuals and you become complacent and you don't have the same drive that you once had because then you get comfortable. But I think once we moved here, I got out of my comfort zone and had that relationship with the Lions. They welcomed me back with open arms, man, and it's been great. And a lot of my Detroit alumni brothers here, you know, it always is a saying. Steve Harvey said it best. It's like, if you find yourself around some dudes and they not doing better than you, then you need to find yourself some other dudes, right? You want guys that want to continue to elevate you and lift you up positively. So always finding somebody that's doing better than you so that you can continue to learn and grow and develop as a man, and not, you know, that football player that you once was. You know, you want to reinvent yourself. So that's kind of how things have unfolded for me. Still an educator, and now I'm a head football coach at a high school out here, man, and I'm loving it, every minute of it.
And that kind of ties back into, you know, how we started off the conversation. Having, you know, you have a story behind your job, you know,
right.
as a head coach currently.
Right.
And you know, the kids will truly see it and respect it more than you just having somebody that has little experience in the position. You know,
right.
You could tell them, okay, this is what happened when I went to college and played on, you know, on a big stage. This is how it was to go through the draft. This is what it was to,
right.
You know what I mean, to go, you know what I'm saying? You live in it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
right.
you went through it. Compared to other people, it's like, okay, yeah, you don't have that much experience in it. So, and I commend you on that, because like I said, there are a lot of kids who play sports, like I said, that come from like playing in Chula Vista like we did, and in National City.
Yeah.
Our coaches weren't like that. But that's what we look, you know what I'm saying? Because
that's what we wanted, right?
Yeah,
right.
Because I remember there was one of the Samoan players. I think he was on JV, but his dad. Matter of fact, the Lutus.
I heard the name. Yeah.
He used to always come to the games, and as soon as the game would come over, be like, Kenny, they should have played you more. They should have played you more. I'm like, well, you need to come out in the stands and come on to the sideline, because maybe you're seeing something that they're not.
Right.
And that's what I like. That, like I said, I hear it in your voice in terms of how passionate you are.
Oh man,
the game and knowledgeable about it, obviously.
Right.
But you bring that to the table, and you know what I'm saying. And just the passion for the game itself, man. Like I said, I've been following you. I see the posts and everything, and it's like, man, if I was able to get my nephew out of Minnesota, I sure would drop him off in there. He got 2 more years.
Yeah, hey, I saw that video, and man, he's a nice player, man. Yeah. So
I'm trying to, like I said, we distant cousins to Justin Jefferson, so my mom is trying to work something out so we can get him, because you know he played receiver and corner, well, receiver and corner and stuff. But because at first they had him playing defensive end, and I was like, nah, I'm like, you're just too talented to be playing defensive end. And
man,
initially I thought that he would kind of go through the same thing, because he's, you know, right there. He's in a suburb right outside of St. Paul, and my nephew had a bad experience at the rival school. So we were thinking like, okay, maybe he'll go through some of the same things. But so far so good. They love him, being the only brother that's a true standout. But it's definitely, you know, it's good to see it, that the generations, you know what I'm saying? Because my brother, you know, he came, he played at Morris a couple years before you got out, was a standout basketball player in Morris. And just that, you know, we all came, you know, athletes, but hopefully my nephew will be the one. He's got the grades and he's got the skills. So now
that's what's up. Now the question is the work ethic. He got that work ethic, man. Like I pass out these wristbands. Let me just show you real quick. You know, this is what I tell my kids about. See, that's the things I've learned in college and the pros. Character, right? Mm-hmm. Then we go to academics, right? And then the last thing is hard work. Mm. And those are the 3 principles, man, that I talk to them about on a daily basis. Because if you can have those in your DNA, everything is going to take care of itself, man, to be honest with you. So,
and then the last thing, you know, you you said, you know, life after football, and I've noticed that, you know, you've been taking some nice pictures with some nice sized fish. Now, are you a part of like a fishing club down here in Florida where, you know what I'm saying, you guys is, you know, a few people doing, or you just, you know, sign up for some, you know, deep fish
Yeah,
fishing?
you know, me and my wife, man, we bought a condo down in the Florida Keys. That's where we got married.
Okay.
And she really loves the ocean, man, and particularly the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Okay.
So we bought a place down in the Keys, man, that we go visit. And once we out there, we always charter a fishing boat, man, because we love to fish. And it's been a great experience. We have a boat here in Michigan. There's a ton of lakes. We was actually out there last night. My wife skunked me two fish to one. So she loves it. But I just do it as a hobby, something that I enjoy, that we enjoy together. But yeah, no fishing trophies anytime soon. We're just doing it for the love of it.
Oh, okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Look, I'm going to Minnesota on the 25th, so I'm gonna try to get out on the Mississippi River.
Right.
Put one out there for real.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, man. So that's about it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I truly appreciate, you know, you taking time out on a Sunday. You know, so I know basketball about to come on here in a little bit. I know that.
Right. Look at you looking at the clock. Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, once again, man, you know, just from one person who really looked up to you, you know, it's definitely an honor to have you on my podcast and to be able just to hear you, you know, share your story, and, you know, hopefully, you know, it can help others, you know, to get the opportunity. Hey, you know, if you know, you have the hopes and dreams of going to the next level, this is what you have to do.
Right.
If it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. You can still do other things.
Right.
And that's what I, you know, respect in you, is that you never stop. And like I said, now you know, you back in Michigan, you coaching, and you're continuing to be a mentor. So
yes, sir.
I salute you. And like I said, once again, I appreciate you truly for coming on tonight, man. Really do.
Man, thanks for having me, K-Dub, man. It's good catching up with you after a long time, man. And like I said before we was started recording, man, I followed your story too, man, and you shared some things offline. But man, I'm really proud of the perseverance, man, and the determination and the focus that you have, man, because you know what? It's not about many times as you fall, right? It's how many times do you get up. And you know, you're doing a great job, and I'm really proud of you, man. So keep up the good work, man. I'm glad that I could be somewhat of an inspiration to you and others, because I've also had, you know, mentors that I've looked up to, that I've had to lean on to continue my life's work and the work that God has for us all. So, man, big kudos to you, man. Keep doing your thing. I love you, brother. And got to get some of that 12 Faces of Sober gear out here represented in the D. You know what I mean? So
got you, man. Thanks a
lot,
man. And I'll shoot you all the information once we get off.
Okay, no doubt. Nice talking to you.
You too, bro, man. Thanks a lot again,
bro. Man. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Late.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was 12 Faces of Sober episode 14 with Terry Battle, man. I was really, really thankful and happy with that interview. Yeah, it takes a lot to get these out, and it took me about 4 or 5 hours to prep this. So just know that I'm over here sweating bullets. It's definitely not cold, but it's been raining today. But this is 12 Faces of Sober. You can go on 12facesofsober.com, scoop up the book. You can scoop up the merch. Thank you very much, man. You guys have a wonderful and blessed week. This is 12 Faces of Sober. Damn.